Hey guys, welcome to Life with Daric. My name is Daric and I'm a doula, and today we're going to talk about the 4 stages of labor. You may have seen on TV the crazy, chaotic childbirth experience where the pregnant lady's water breaks.
Angie, I think your water broke.
Wait, what?
Your water is breaking. I gotta get a bus to take me to the hospital. Let me drive you. I'll drive you.
She's rushed to the hospital and then she's in excruciating pain.
Give me some drugs. You don't need drugs. Give me this. I want those drugs. Go. You'll never get me, pig. Ah!
Give me a big one. Big one.
So the baby flies out and the doctor catches the baby and then that's it. But that's not really how it works. Labor gives you signs and indications of what stage of labor you're in and can help you be less fearful and more educated throughout your birth experience. So whether you're pregnant or you are going to be assisting someone who's pregnant, these are all good things to know so that you don't feel like you're having a chaotic, traumatic experience and you feel comfortable about what's coming next. If you don't know the 4 stages of labor, stay tuned to watch the rest of this video. So before we talk about the actual 4 stages of labor, I wanted to briefly discuss pre-labor with you. Pre-labor is the time before actual labor contractions begin, and you may experience what are also referred to as Braxton Hicks contractions, which are usually shorter, less intense, and less frequent than actual labor contractions. These contractions are also non-progressing, which means that they don't progress the dilation of the cervix. It's important to pay attention to these signs to avoid going to the hospital or birth center prematurely. And if you're unable to tell whether you're actually in labor or not, contact your doula if you have one or your care provider, and they'll be able to tell you a little bit more about the contractions that you're having. All right, now let's talk about the 4 stages of labor. The first stage of labor is the dilation stage, which is also referred to as labor. The cervix softens completely and dilates to about 10 centimeters. During this time, contractions progress and it contains 3 phases, which are early, active, and transitional labor. During the early labor stage, the cervix dilates from 0 to about 4 centimeters. You may have heard stories of women going to the hospital but being sent home because they weren't dilated enough, and that usually happens during the early labor phase. During this time, it's a great time to move around, eat and drink fluids, play a game, watch a movie, do something that you like to do because mom is usually pretty sensible and clear-headed during this time. It's also a great time to contact your doula or your care provider to let them know what's going on, and try to labor at home as much as you can to avoid being sent home from the hospital. During the active labor phase, the cervix dilates from about 4 to 7 centimeters. Active labor is around the time that you should head to the hospital or birth center, or make sure that your midwife and or doula are present. By now, your water may possibly break or be broken by the birth professional, so the contractions may be more frequent and more intense. Contractions tend to be around 3 to 4 minutes apart and lasting about 1 minute. The progression of labor usually speeds up around this time, so coping mechanisms and partner support really come in handy during this time. This is where the doula and the birth partner would be doing things like massage, counter pressure, hip squeezes, helping with position changes, breathings, affirmations, all of those things. It's extremely important during this time if you want to have a natural birth to keep up with the coping mechanisms because they help relieve the pain. And this is also the time where a lot of women ask for the epidural because the pain intensifies a lot. The last phase of the dilation stage is transitional labor, which is the transition from the dilation stage to the birthing stage. During this stage, mom feels a lot of pressure and contractions are extremely intense because they are at maximum capacity. These contractions last about 1 to 2 minutes and come about every 2 to 3 minutes. This is a great time for a partner to remind mom that she's about to meet her baby, that she's almost there. She may say things like, I can't do this, I don't want to do this anymore, but as a partner and a doula, you remind them that they're almost at the finish line. The second stage of labor is the birthing phase, where pushing and birth takes place. The cervix is fully dilated during this time and the baby is ready to rotate and be pushed through the birth canal. Mom will either feel an intense urge to push or she'll be coached by her provider to push. This stage also contains phases, starting with the resting phase that may not happen to everyone, but it's good to identify if it happens to you. The resting phase is a brief pause in labor where the baby's head has pushed through the uterus. However, the uterus needs time to contract around the body to push the rest of the baby out. It's a very brief pause, but it's just something to be aware of. Next, we have the descent phase where the uterus pushes the baby down with strong contractions and you may see the head come out and slip back up. This is followed up by the crowning phase where the baby's head slips out and no longer slips back in and ends with the baby being born. So you may be thinking, okay, the baby is born, what other stage of labor can there be? But mom's work is not done yet. She still has to deliver the placenta, which leads us to the third stage, the placental stage. Once mom and baby meet, oxytocin is released and signals the uterus to contract and expel the placenta. Some providers may also administer Pitocin, which is a synthetic oxytocin and also does the same thing, helps the uterus contract and deliver the placenta. Once the placenta is delivered, if it doesn't have to go to pathology, you can decide what you want to do with it. So you can take it home and freeze it, plant it, or even get it encapsulated by a placenta encapsulation specialist. Last but not least, we have the fourth stage of labor, which is the rest and recovery stage. The first hour after birth is referred to as the golden hour, which contains nursing, trials, and skin-to-skin contact, which helps the baby transition from womb to world. After a long marathon, mom and baby need to rest because they have both been through a very long and intense process. I really hope that this was helpful for you guys. If you're pregnant or you know someone that's pregnant, identifying the stages of labor can help keep you informed and keep you less fearful of what's to come next. Please, please, please send this to your nearest and dearest pregnant lady, and I really hope that you enjoyed it. If you like it, please like and subscribe, and look forward to the next video. Thanks guys, bye.